The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 finally gets the upgrade that we've all been waiting for, making this Samsung's best fold yet. Let me know in the comments who out there is waiting for the Z Fold 6, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech. So first up, before we get into the great news on the Z Fold 6, Samsung are currently running a Discover Samsung event, and you can get some great offers on their tabs, including the A7 for just $100, and of course I've placed the links down in the description below, so if you need a new tab or want one for a Christmas present, then go ahead and check it out now. Now back to the Z Fold 6, and thankfully it's mostly great news today apart from a couple of things that may disappoint some people. So first of all, when it comes to the cameras, we've got more confirmation that there aren't going to be any changes in the physical hardware, and it's going to be using the same camera system as the Z Fold 5. Now of course there's going to be improvements in software, but don't expect anything too drastic when it comes to photography. Now next up, we're still getting plenty of rumors about the S Pen being housed inside the Z Fold 6, but unfortunately this just isn't going to happen. There were prototypes of the Fold 5 with an S Pen, but Samsung are going with the new design on the Z Fold 6 which rules out the S Pen completely, and we'll get into more detail on that shortly. Now there has however been a patent discovered that was tweeted by XLeak7, and this shows a stylus that attaches to the back of the Fold, but this is a recent patent, so there's no way it's going to be ready in time for the Z Fold 6, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen, as the S Pen case for the current Fold basically allows the same thing as this, so for those that want an S Pen can use the case, and those that don't use it don't have to. Now on to the good news, and first up we've got a tweet from Ross Young, and he tells us that the Z Fold 6 is going to be larger than the Z Fold 5, and for those of you looking for the Flip 6, that's also going to be larger as well. Now the main issue for me with the Fold 5 was the narrow cover display, but thankfully this is now increasing in size and changing aspect ratio, and then the bigger inner display is just a bonus. Now when it comes to display leaks, Ross Young is always very accurate, so we can be pretty sure that this is happening now. Now this further backs up the previous reports from the Elec, and they stated that Samsung is looking to change the shape of the Z Fold 6, and they're actually reverse engineering Huawei's Mate X5 to look for inspiration on thinning down the Z Fold 6 while keeping a larger battery capacity. Many competitors have already released thinner phones than the Z Fold series with larger battery capacities, and now Samsung are finally following suit. Now TechRev previously advised that the Z Fold 6 was going to see a major change in form factor, and according to new reports, they're going to be making the outer screen much wider than it was this year, which is great to hear. Next up, we've got improvements to the display, and it's going to be a much brighter and more accurate display than before. Now we don't know the peak brightness just yet, but recent phones are pushing to some very high numbers, and with Samsung displays being at the top of mobile display innovation, we're hoping for something very impressive. But the main area of display improvement is going to be in the durability, and paired with a new hinge mechanism, the Z Fold 6 is not only going to last for more folds over its whole lifetime, but we're also going to be getting less creasing in the center of the display. As always, there are plenty of rumors stating that there's going to be no crease in the center of the display, but personally I would just ignore these for now, it's just not going to happen anytime soon. Now next up, we've got more great news that the Z Fold 6 is finally going to be getting some dust resistance thanks to a new improved hinge on top of this new display design. Its predecessor came with an IPX rating for water resistance only, but reports are stating that the Z Fold 6 is in fact going to be Samsung's first Fold with dust resistance. Now dust resistance is probably more important than water resistance, as it's going to come into dust with day-to-day use, so this is great news to hear. Now for those of you excited for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, we're now going to run through the full specs, design and the expected pricing to help you guys decide if it is worth the wait. For my regular viewers, you guys have seen this, so just skip to the next video, but if you're new here then hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, we get a 7.6-inch foldable 120Hz dynamic AMOLED display. While it's the same size as its predecessor, we're expecting improvements in brightness, color accuracy, as well as durability. It's coming with a resolution of 1812 by 2176, and it's going to be protected by Samsung's newest ultra-thin glass. Now there's also going to be less visible creasing in the center of the new foldable display, as well as water and dust resistance. For the external display, we get a 120Hz dynamic AMOLED protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 3. It's going to be a 6.2-inch display, and while the current resolution is unknown at the moment, Samsung are reportedly working on a much wider aspect ratio, and we're also going to see improvements to the brightness and color accuracy, and it will of course have a punch-hole camera in the top center. Now the selfie cameras are going to be a 10 megapixel wide-angle camera on the cover display, followed by a 4 megapixel under-display camera on the internal display. Then over on the rear, it's a 50 megapixel primary camera, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide, and then a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical zoom. Now it's actually the same camera system used in the predecessor, but hopefully we will still see some improvements thanks to the software. It's going to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 globally, and we get 12GB of RAM with up to 1TB of storage, and this will of course be UFS 4.1. It's coming with a 4400 mAh battery, and while fast charging is still currently unknown, we're hoping for improvements to both wired as well as wireless charging. In terms of connectivity, we get advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7, and then we also get ultra-wideband support, and it's coming with One UI 6 based on Android 14, and it's expected to launch from $1,850 in August 2024. So the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 is looking like an incredible new folding phone from Samsung, and for a device that's kept the same design for some time now, it's refreshing to see a change. Now a bigger cover display with a wider aspect ratio is going to make the phone a lot more usable for those times that you want to do something quickly and you don't want to unfold into a bigger display. And with all of the new AI features along with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the general usability is going to be greatly improved. Now the fact that they're also thinning down the phone on top of all this is just a bonus, and to be honest, the Z Fold 5 already looked like a very premium device, so I'm very excited for the 6. Now because of the similarities to its predecessor, I can't see anyone with the Fold 5 rushing for an upgrade, but for those with an older Fold or those who have been waiting to get their first Fold, I think the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is going to be a great place to start. Now we still have some time until the official launch, so we're likely going to get more and more leaks as we approach it, and of course I'll be sharing them as soon as they come in, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.